In this video, I'll show you 5 simple but effective ways to animate your logo in After Effects. We'll cover things like outline reveals, breaking logo effects, pixel animations, and particle-based reveals, each one as a separate tutorial. On the screen, you can right now see the timestamp so you can skip to whatever technique you like. Whether you're working on a client project or your own brand, these tricks are easy to follow and fun to customize. So I guess let's just jump right in. So I'll make a new composition and just leave it the normal settings. Let's also add a solid background real quick. And then obviously we need our logo. And yeah, for this one it's super important that this logo has like two really essential attributes. For once, it has to be transparent, so we need a transparent PNG file. So as you can see, it doesn't have any background at all. And it has to have like sharp edges, so it shouldn't be like an image or a drawing. It has to be like really clean 2D, just like this Tesla logo, for example. And yeah, with this we can actually transform this into strokes with just one simple trick. So let's select this layer and then go to the layer settings and click auto trace, and then we can just leave these settings and hit OK. And now, as you can see, this one is transformed into some masks. And now we will copy these masks onto a shape layer, which we then can animate easily. So let's add a new shape layer. Just right click in here and add a shape layer. And now we can open up both this newly generated auto traced layer and the shape layer. And let's also open up the mask settings. And for this one, we have two masks because we have two separate pieces for this logo, but for you it can vary, maybe just one mask or more depending on how much separate pieces you have. And we now want to copy these two mask paths onto our shape layer, so we then can animate it by using the shape settings. So let's first add some path, so we can just click add and add a path. And actually let's add two paths because we have two masks. So just add how many masks you have, the equivalent and paths, and then you can just open these up, press on the mask path and just Ctrl C it to copy it and Ctrl V it in here to paste it. And let's do this for the second mask as well. Copy it, Ctrl C, open up the second path and paste it in here, just like this. And now we can already disable this layer and the other one, or make them invisible. And now we see we have this shape layer. This may need some adjustments in the scaling again, so let's scale this down a bit. But now we can start by adding a stroke, just like this, and increasing the brightness a bit until we can actually see it, or until it looks nice. So you can put in whatever you want in here, and let's just go with 20 for this example. And this looks cool, but it's not animated, so let's also add a trim paths effect, which we can then open up. Then we can go to wherever we want this logo to start animating in and bring the end setting down to 0 and put in a keyframe. And then let's go to wherever we want this to be fully revealed and bring this up to 100 again. And now if we play this, we can see we get this super cool animation. And what I did in the example as well, I copied this one by pressing Ctrl D. And let's add a smaller path. So let's open up the stroke and decrease this to something like 10. And also let's open up the trim paths and put in a positive value, a small one for the offset, like 30 maybe, 20 or 15. And now you can see we get this nice small line going in front and then the thicker one following. And maybe let's even turn the whiteness down a bit. I just think that's a cool detail, but you can leave this layer out. So if you don't want this, of course, you can just leave it with that one in here. But I think that looks cool. And as soon as this is done, we could also duplicate this layer again, especially the lower one. And for this one we can just open it up and delete the stroke and the trim paths and just add a fill effect. So this one will be the final stage of the reveal. And let's also give it the white color. So this is just in place. And yeah, let's just make it invisible real quick and check out when this animation is like 90% done or 80%, like in here maybe. Then we can, yeah, let's unhide it again and press T on the keyboard to access the opacity settings. And let's bring this down to 0 and just keyframe it, and then just go forward like 1 or 2 seconds, or 1 second should be enough, and bring this back to 100. And now you can see, first of all, the stroke will come, and then the fill will just go in, and this just looks super cool. Let's make a new composition and just hit OK, and let's import our logo, which we should have as a transparent PNG file, and just put it into here. And now we can press S on the keyboard to just scale it to whatever we like. Yeah, this should look good. And yeah, now we can already right click on it and go to pre-compose, and then we have to make sure that these settings are selected. So just copy this one, because by default maybe it's like that, but we need that, and then just hit OK. And yeah, let's also just add a background real quick, black solid, for just so it looks nicer. And yeah, now we can already look for the effect that we need, which is the scatterize effect. So just look in for CC scatterize and just apply it. And yeah, we only have like 4 settings in here, which makes it super simple. So what we have, maybe I'll just show you. So we have like the scatter, which is like, yeah, these particle kind of, animation. And then we can also give it a twist, which looks really cool. And yeah, let's first of all bring this back to 0 and just animate this. So maybe we can just go to the point in our composition where we want it to be finalized, so where we want this logo to be fully present, and then just put in keyframes in here at scatter for 0 and the right twist also 0. And then we can go back to the beginning, like the real beginning, and put in something like 300 in here and 2 in here. And now if we play this animation, we can already see this looks super cool. It will take some time to pre-render because this is kind of heavy for the computer, but it should look amazing, just like this. And I think this is super nice. The only thing by default is that I think the end of this is kind of like abrupt. It's like really, it's too quick. So maybe we can even open up the graph editor and slow this down a bit to give this like a smooth fade basically. And so let's just open this up and click this button on here for the graph editor. And now we can just play with the curves a bit. So let's first of all double click the scatter curve. So all this is selected, and then hit this little thing down here, the Easy Ease button. And now we can just bring this a bit more to here, so we can see the end is just a really slow curve. Just like this, just make sure the curve looks like this. And the same thing for the right twist, we can just double click it, press the Easy Ease button, and also slow this down here. And now if we play this animation, it will be more fast in the middle or the beginning, and then just turn down for the actual logo reveal, which is just super nice. And as you can see, this still takes some time to pre-render. But now I hope you noticed the difference. I think this just looks way smoother. And that's it already. So I just prepared a little composition, and we can see we have our logo, which should be a transparent PNG file, and a simple background, which we could change later, but let's just keep it a dark solid for this example and apply the effects on the logo that we need. And we will start with the most important effect, which is the lock dissolve effect, which you can actually find under transition. And this one we can just apply on our logo and change a few settings. So now if we would animate this transition, we can see that this is like super granular and super detailed, and this is not good. We want pixels, so actually we have to increase both of these settings in here. So let's put in something like 40 and 40 in here. Make sure it's the same value. And let's uncheck the soft edges box in here. And we can see we get some nice pixels. And depending on your logo or your size, you can change the settings. Maybe we want even bigger ones, so we can give it a bigger value. Or actually, let's stick with 50 for both. And yeah, this is super cool. Now we can just animate this. So let's go to the beginning of the composition, or actually where you want this to be fully vanished. And yeah, bring this thing to 100% and put in a keyframe. And yeah, then we can go to whenever we want this logo to be fully revealed. Let's go for like 2 seconds maybe, and then just bring this back to 0. And now if we play this, we can see this already looks kind of cool, but a bit I don't know, it doesn't look smooth. It looks like it's missing something. So let's apply one more effect, which is the CC white time effect. And we can just apply it and put in 10 for the backward steps. And now this will take much longer to pre-render, but you can see this has a more organic effect. I would say more organic look, and this is super cool. So now we actually want to add another thing, and as you can see in the example, we have like this glowing layer going on, or this glowing effect, which is on top of everything and just looks a bit more futuristic, a bit more techy. So yeah, let's add this. So for this one, we can just duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl D, and let's make sure to select the lower layer again and bring this a bit to the right, like 0.3 or half a second maybe, and this is good. And on the upper layer, we will now apply a glow effect, which we can just look up and just apply. And yeah, for this one, we have to increase the radius first of all, and maybe play with the intensity a bit as well. Just like this. And maybe we also want this to be a bit blurred, so we can look for the Gaussian blur effect. And just and let's just put in something like 10 or 15 or 20 in here. So it's basically just not a duplicate, but a bit more advanced. Let's do 15 in here. And yeah, let's also make sure that the white time effect is on top of everything. So just bring this down again. And yeah, now if we play this, oh god, this will take ages. But now if we would play this, we can see this glowing thing would start. And then the actual effect will, or the real layer will then follow up. This takes too long. But yeah, if you replay this, we can see this will then be full logo. And here we want to change one more thing. We want, as soon as this is done, we want this glowing layer to disappear. So yeah, now we can see it's almost finished. So we can select this glowing layer, press T on the keyboard to access the opacity setting, then put a keyframe in here at 100, then go like forward a second and bring this down to 0. And yeah, now if we play this, we will get this smooth transition from like this build up, this reveal to our finished logo. And yeah, that's it already. Of course, in the example that looked cooler, that's because there's a background actually, and not just a solid. And I also added an adjustment layer with some glow effect for the total composition and some brightness and contrast. But besides that, that's it. And as you can see, I prepared a composition, and basically the only things that we need is our logo, which should be a transparent PNG file and a background. And yeah, you should use a footage. For this case, I will just use a black background. And yeah, let's just go right into it. So let's apply the only most important effect that we need, which is the card wipe effect. And you can see I already searched for it, but you can also find it under transition and just apply it. And as you can see, we already get this nice look, and we just have to animate this basically. So let's go to the beginning of our composition, or basically where you want the logo to be fully dissolved and not visible. And here we can put in 50% and just put in a keyframe, and then go to whatever timestamp you want your logo to be fully visible. And in my case, that's like 1 or 2 seconds, and then we can bring this to 100%. And now if we play this, we can already see that there's some nice looking thing going on, but we can also see that at the beginning it's a little bit visible and not fully dissolved. And sadly we can counter this by changing some settings in here, so we have to use another trick, and this is to play with the opacity. So let's select our layer and press T on the keyboard to access the opacity settings, and turn this down to 0 at the beginning. And then let's just go a little bit forward, not too much, and we can bring this back to 100%. And now we get this more smooth looking reveal where there's nothing at all at the beginning. As you can see, maybe we can even stretch this out a bit, but not too much, as I said. And this looks super cool. There's also one more setting which we can play with, but this is completely subjective, and this one is the flip order. And I just think the most cool looking one is the bottom left to top right, where this just starts at the bottom left obviously and goes up, but you can leave it at left to right, right to left, top to bottom, or whatever you prefer. But I just think that this one looks super clean. Maybe this one is a bit too fast, so we can open this up and bring the transition completion a bit more to the right. But 2 seconds should be enough for sure. And this looks super cool, and that's basically it. But I think, in my opinion, that the edges look a little bit too sharp, which just gives us this flat look, or this 2D look, which might not be suitable for our logo. So sometimes I like to apply one more effect, which is the white time effect. And if we apply this, we can we just have 2 settings. And if we increase the backward steps to something like 7, we can see that these edges are a bit blurry, and I don't know, I think it just looks more, not realistic, but a bit more smooth, a bit more, not 2D. And this will take some time to pre-render, but once it's done, I think this looks way better. I really like this one. And that's it for the logo transition. As you can see in the example, we also made a little text which just goes from the left to the right and just reveals itself. And let's quickly go into this one as well if you want to learn this. So obviously let's right click in here and let's add a new text. I'll just type Porsche, for example, again, and we can just press P on the keyboard to change the position. We can just bring this down. We can also open up the Align tab and center it horizontally. And now we just need one effect for this one, and this one is called the linear wipe effect. And let's just apply this, and let's go to the beginning of our animation. And now this is a bit tricky. We want this to go from the left to the right and just reveal itself. So first of all, we need to change the angle to -90 degrees, because otherwise it will go from the right to the left. And we also need to find the correct transition completion value, because how do I explain it? It's like it goes from the left side fully to the right side, even though our text is a bit smaller, and we want this to start here and not here, if that makes sense. So let's first of all bring this to 100% and then just bring it down again, and let's just see where this would start. And in this case it's something like, as you can see, about 60%, 63%. Then just put in a keyframe in here and then go forward the 2 seconds or 1.5, whatever you choose. And now we can bring this until it's fully revealed. And again, this won't be 0, so be careful. It's in this case 30%. But now this looks a bit boring, as you can see. So we can, not good. So we have to increase the feather a bit so it will get more smooth. And this one will look way more professional. And sometimes I also like to give it a bit more, bigger angle or smaller angle, so it's not fully vertical. So we maybe can put in like -100 or 115, and you won't notice a big difference, but you can actually see now it's not like that. It's more a bit not fully vertical. It has a bit of a rotation. And that's it. We're done for this one. Let's make a new composition and just leave normal settings and hit OK. And then we need to import our logo, of course, first of all, which should be a transparent PNG file, which would be the best. And just import it and then press S on the keyboard to scale this to whatever size we like, just like this for this example. And then we can already right click on it and go to pre-compose. And now probably this setting is selected by default for you guys, but make sure it's this one. This is really important, and then we can just hit OK. And now we can already go to the effects and presets tab and look for the shatter effect, which is the most important one, and we can just apply it on this composition. And now we can see we get like some wireframe kind of look, but we want to see our logo actually. So let's just go to view and change this to rendered, so we can actually see what we are working with exactly. And by default you can now see this is like just some rectangles, and this doesn't look like really natural. So we can just open up the shapes thing and change the pattern to glass, and this makes it look like it's shattering in the middle, which is super cool. But now if we play this animation, it's like super fast, super random, and everything falls down. And let's try to make it like the example that I showed you. And for this one we can first of all open up the force number 1 and change the strength to something like 0.3. Now this will be really slow, but this will still just fall down while breaking. And to counter that one, we can just open up the physics setting and change the gravity to 0, and now it will stay in place. And we can see if we play this will look super cool. Maybe just for the look, let's just give it a quick background. Let's just make a solid background and bring it behind the logo so we can see it better. But this is already super cool in my opinion, and I think this is already it for the shatter effect. But we added some secondary nice effect for the whole look, or maybe 2 effects. So let's just try this real quick. So we have to duplicate our pre-composition, and on the lower one we can now apply the light burst effect. CC light burst it's called, I think. Just apply this one, and now we can give it like an inverse wavelength. So put in a negative value in here, like -100, and now we can let's go big, let's go -500 actually. And now we can see we get like these cool paths behind the logo, and I think this looks super cool, but it's a bit strong. So maybe we can just select this layer and click T on the keyboard for opacity, and just bring the opacity down to like 20% or 30. But I think this is like a super cool X-ray effect, so maybe you can play with this one. And to just round it up and make it look even more connected everything, we can just add a new adjustment layer and put it on top of everything, and maybe apply a glow effect for example. And bring up the glow radius first of all by a lot, and down the intensity a bit, maybe to like 0.3, because it should look not too much like in the beginning where the logo is still full. But I think this whole thing now looks kinda interesting. Or maybe we can even increase the intensity. But this is now completely up to you how you deal with this whole thing. But that's it already.